Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Peppermint Matty here, running a solo show, though. Rod had to be out today. He's got some scheduling conflicts with work. Tried to scramble to get a guest on for you guys today. Unfortunately, with it being a feel-good Friday, everybody's kind of locked up in their plans, so it's just going to be me. We're going to run a shorter episode today. And I sit before you not only as your host, not only as your co-host, but I sit before you as a not humble, very sore winner right now, and a Bears fan. We got our boy Justin Fields coming to us, Ohio State stud. No, that doesn't make me an Ohio State fan. Let's not have those questions rolling in before anybody gets too hasty with it. However, he is now in the hands of arguably the most incompetent coach in the NFL right now, with the exception of a few other teams. We'll see what happens with him. But today's discussion is going to be a lot in line with sports. Hopefully we can get some fan interaction since it is just me today. So before we get to that, though, we have a few updates on our marathon episode. A couple cool new things that are going to take place. One, Rod and I have decided that we're going to be running a little bit of a challenge for those who are going to come on as guests on the show. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some trivia. Each guest is going to get 5 trivia questions, such as this one I have for you. Which planet has the most gravity? And we're all going to learn pretty quickly that shit we learned in grade school and public school doesn't really matter. There's never really a case. So unless you are an astronaut, if I've got some astronaut friends and family out there, please let us know. But if you go to idiotsonamic.com, check out our website. You can go there. You can see at the bottom of our homepage, there is an ongoing list of guests that we're going to have on the show. Super excited to share that with you guys. From all different backgrounds. We have people from all different backgrounds that are coming on, reaching out to us. Our manager, DJ Sweat, is working restlessly to get some high-profile guests on. Hopefully we can get some big names for you guys. We're going to start, this is an attempt for us to raise money, whether it's for the American Cancer Society, Mission 22, or Make-A-Wish. Each one of those we're going to attempt to raise money for during our marathon episode campaign. So be on the lookout for that. If you do go to our website, be sure to check out our merch. So we have our Idiots on the Mic merch for you guys, if my internet will cooperate with me for today. Just me, so hopefully we shouldn't have too many issues going through this. If I cut out, it's going to be weird for everybody. So just sit tight if that does take place. However, if you go to our Idiots merch page, that's going to take you to our bonfire store. We've got a new shirt that we're running, Idiots for Fundraising. Pretty simple shirt that we're going to get going for you guys. We have kind of a torn up Idiots on the Mic logo on the front side there. If you go to our back side, it's Idiots for Fundraising with our sponsors, CBD Brothers USA, and our nice little microphone on the opposite side there. So make sure you're going to check that out. All those proceeds from that shirt are going to be divided up, and we're going to send a portion of all of that to each one of the 3 fundraisers that we're attempting to raise money for. So a lot going on with that. Again, check it out. We've got a new blog spot that you guys can take a peek at. All of that is just from my writings. Monsters are being monsters. This is all from me personally, behind the mic. We've got a few different things going on, just some different stories that Rod and I wanted to tell for you guys that kind of articulate a little bit of who we are behind the scenes. Now, we don't really play characters when we come on the show. We are who we are. We run the goofy-ass little names we have for ourselves. However, you get what you get. So some of those behind-the-scenes stories may be fun for you guys to go check out and read up on. But not only are we going to be doing that, we also discussed the possibility of maybe asking guests what their favorite drinking games are. What do we got for favorite drinking games? Maybe we come up with a collective beer Olympics that we can all participate in. It's going to be past the 4th of July since we are running it July 10th. However, I don't know, maybe we all get together and run a block party episode for a couple hours and have a few drinks with you guys, maybe field some questions along the way. Another opportunity for us to kind of raise some money. But as a sports fan, we talked about this. There's so many times as a fan or as a ex-player, now everybody thinks, especially with the NFL, I think this phenomenon is especially focused on in the NFL. Everybody thinks they're a GM of some team. Everybody thinks that they can run the team better. We got our guy Griff in our friend group that if it was up to him, he'd be running the front office there for the Denver Broncos. He explained why he's a Broncos fan. Might be one of the goofiest stories I've ever actually heard for someone becoming a fan. And this is coming from someone who bounced around from team to team before landing and sticking with the Bears. However, he's sitting there playing Madden. Maybe I'll be the Patriots. The Patriots would be fun to play as. Yeah, cool. Well, no, not the Patriots. All right, I got to pick a different team. Okay, this is what I landed on. Here we go. The rest is history, I suppose. But as a fan, there's a lot of decisions to be desired. You look at what happened last year with the Green Bay Packers. They took Jordan Love. They traded up to get Jordan Love, who, from my understanding, didn't have the prospect value that they decided to spend on him. Yet here we are now. Now Aaron Rodgers is disgruntled. He wants out. He doesn't want to be there anymore. And the rest will probably be history by the time the season starts. Will Aaron Rodgers even be with them? What's he going to do to get out of Green Bay? Are they willing to do something to get him out of Green Bay? Another Russell Wilson situation where are they even seriously taking trade offers into consideration, or are they just going to brush them all off, close the doors, leave us alone, don't answer the phones, we don't want to hear it kind of situation? With that being said, there's a lot of good decisions, aka our man Justin Field coming over to the Gusty Town Brown Bears, if you will. Hopefully we can recirculate this notion, this Gusty Town Brown Bears, as we've nicknamed them, and bring it back into the fold because we are relevant again. We talk about Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, they signed the 1-year deal with him. Okay, cool, whatever. I guess we need a quarterback. Mitchell Trubisky got traded away or re-signed with the Bills, and now he's kind of done with the organization. But it's just, you almost feel for Justin Fields a little bit as well. Would you rather be, a question that I was hoping to propose to Rod here, had he been on today, is would you rather be a star of a bad team or an average player on an elite team? I think that goes to the competitiveness of most guys. Some guys, the professional sport is a job for them. They go in, they do the work, they do their training, they get the paycheck. That's what they're there for. And that's not to take away from anybody's capabilities as an athlete. And that's not to take away the, maybe desire to some aspect of athletes in professional sports. However, sometimes at the end of the day, this is what I'm good at. This is where I can make the most money. And it just makes the most sense to do something like that. Whether you love it or not, you go in, you grind, and you get your job done, and you go about your day, and you go home, have a few brews with the boys, just like everybody else. Granted, your brews are probably a little more expensive than the rest of us, because when you sign that X amount of millions of dollars contract in the beginning of the year as a rookie, you can afford a little nicer things and do some cool stuff with that. But that's a phenomenon that Rod and I have touched on as well, is the pay that athletes get as essentially entertainers to a degree. Now they're putting their bodies on the line and they're going above and beyond in their sport, their respective sport. However, there is just such a phenomenal mountain of money to be made if you are a professional athlete, you get in there, and especially baseball players, you take a look at baseball players. Mike Trout signed a 12, 13 million or 12, 13 year deal worth 400 something $1 million. Now we're starting to see that. Patrick Mahomes did his 10-year, 500 million deal, and really quarterback seems to be the only position where that is eligible for something like that. But you got to think too, is baseball, why is baseball such a higher paid sport than football overall, and what's the reasoning behind that? So another question that we can pose is, would you rather win a Super Bowl, or would you rather win a World Series? Now, me personally, being a baseball guy with a baseball background, I'd love to win a World Series, but I think at the end of the day, I'd rather win a Super Bowl. You get one shot. You have one chance to beat the other team across from you on the line, and that's it. That's all you got. Whereas if you're in a World Series, you got a pitcher that has a bad game. Okay, this is a 7-game series. If you're able to stretch it out to that 7-game series, you have an opportunity. You have multiple opportunities to be able to do that. So there's a little bit more leeway there, and that's something you got to consider as well. I guess to a degree you can discuss that, okay, the reason baseball players are paid more is the TV coverage. You got to look, they're playing 162 games a year. Holy shit, 162 games a year? Think about all the TV coverage. Think of all the advertisement deals that they get to make, all of the primetime slots that they get to make with deals, especially local television. You get MLB.TV. And luckily, I'm an out-of-market fan. I'm a White Sox fan. We're here in the Central Ohio area. None of those games are blacked out for me. But when that rivalry comes around and you got them Sox versus some Indians and they're at home in Cleveland, nothing. Can't watch it. Doesn't matter. Get you one of those Express VPN deals so you can bounce your location off of other places so you can still be able to watch the game. Now there's services for that. It's not necessarily the illegal thing that it used to be. Super Bowl by far. Thank you, Mama Spain, for chiming in. Future mother-in-law, I'm glad you could be with us today. Super Bowl by far, and truthfully, I have to agree. I think that the Super Bowl, it just seems that there's so much more on the line. The viewership that you're going to get during the Super Bowl is far greater. In a Super Bowl setting, it has to be far more appreciative at the end of the game, and how much weight that carries in comparison. You have less chances to screw up. You only have 16, now 17 games in the regular season. If you're lucky enough to get a first-round bye, you still got a game or two here and there in the playoffs before you even make it to the Super Bowl. Make it to the Super Bowl, that's your one chance. Every game, every series in baseball, you've got either a 5-game series or a 7-game series. In hockey, you've got 3-game, 5-game, 7-game series, whatever it ends up being. There's just so much more on the line when it's a Super Bowl. And again, the fact that you physically just put your body out there to take a beating in order to do that is phenomenal. And you see the emotions of football players when they win the Super Bowl. It's incredible to watch. You see guys when they win the NCAA national championship. I mean, the possibilities are endless for those guys. You look at Joe Burrow, who was a backup at one point. He transfers over to LSU. He leads them to a record-breaking season 1 and a record-breaking championship. And the opportunities are endless. Granted, when you're good like that, you're going to get signed to the worst team. Trevor Lawrence going to the Jaguars the year before with Joe Burrow going to the Bengals. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how the chips fall, because of the way the draft stock and draft setup is for the NFL. It is what it is, I guess, but it is fun to watch. It gives you hope as as a terrible team. Not that the Bears have been terrible this year or last year or the past 4 or 5 years. However, that much more hope. Justin Fields comes in. Oh, he's this fantastic quarterback. He's mobile. He's a better decision maker than what Mitchell Trubisky was. We'll skip right past that in the whole Mitchell Trubisky era. Granted, he was serviceable. He made it to the playoffs with us, a time or two. Hopefully, that's what potentially Andy Dalton can do. Now, I don't think Andy Dalton's even going to be a starter. Here we go. We're talking about guys that are, who can run the front office and everything. If I'm a head coach, you sit him behind a veteran for a year and see what he could possibly do. But this is not a sports show, so we're not going to talk too much about sports. There was one other event that did take place here recently. Rod and Fee's wedding, Nick and Felicia's wedding. What a phenomenal event that was. We have to give a big shout out to Under the Hill Productions and Dreamwolf Productions for putting together videography and photography for the wedding. They leaked a few, 10, 15 photos, whatever it was, out on social media of what the wedding pictures looked like, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I got a big stooge of a co-host, and to make him look halfway decent of a man is tough to do. They knocked it out of the park. Beautiful wedding, beautiful venue. It was tough. It was a nice day to go sit out, smoke a stogie by the fire, just kind of relax a little bit. But that dance floor needed somebody, and it needed Zach and I, Cowboy and I. We got out there, had ourselves a little dance off. Maybe he won, maybe he didn't. The man could do the splits, which is a feat that probably a smaller percentile than you would think can do. And for him to be super nimble like that, I applaud him, because that is something I am far from. It takes me a little effort to kneel down or touch my toes or anything like that. The margaritas were flowing. What a fantastic idea from Rod and Fee to pull out the margarita card at the wedding. I don't know exactly how many of these things I had. They tended to disappear rather quickly. The worm was funny. Yeah, I did an attempt at the worm in order to match Zach's attempt at the worm. It didn't feel good. I got to tell you, the barn floors are a little uneven and a little rickety, so took a little bit of a beating doing that. However, I'm glad that Bryce stepped in when he did, because the two moves that I pulled on the dance floor were the only ones that I had. Those were the only ones that I had. My pants were not that tight. Thank you, Pop Steel, for chiming in. Always good to hear from you, because you have been deemed the content giver of the show. All the friends and family members that were there at the wedding, my parents there as well. They learned rather quickly. Everybody learned rather quickly where I get my content from. We go out and smoke a stogie with Papa Steele. He says about 10 words, has everybody belly laughing. And you know what? That kind of hurts my feelings a little bit, because I'm supposed to be the entertainment most times. But it is what it is. It can't always be about me, Got to share a spotlight every now and then. That's why I let Rod talk during some episodes usually. And you know what? I think this has probably been the smoothest episode we've had in a while, too. This is probably going to be the highest rated, highest viewed, if I had to guess. Not really sure why that is going to be the way it is. But in any case, super happy for them, and makes me very excited for the wedding that my fiance and I have coming up. We got a lot to do still. Beautiful venue. We're still chipping away through our engagement photos. There's a lot to sift through. Anybody that has taken engagement photos or wedding photos can probably attest to this. They are weird. They put you in a weird situation. All right, I want you to do this pose. This is kind of the look I'm going for. So in your head, you have that, okay, this is what they're trying to obtain. And you kind of get that Chandler smile from friends, and it's uncomfortable, it's unnatural until they kind of get you flowing a little bit, do a few of them, you start to get used to it, and then you can really get a rhythm. So shout out to people who do photography or videography. You are all fantastic from what I've seen. Everybody's got their own style that they like to accomplish. And, you know, if that's your style and you want to go with it for your wedding or your engagement photos, then do it. Get hooked up with those right people. It also helps that photographers are usually pretty social, and they keep you engaged, and it's not uncomfortable. They're not just like, all right, stand there rigid and smile and they move you like mannequins. They take the picture, you move on. Luckily, from what I've seen, none are like that. It's not to say that there aren't some out there. But I want to wrap today's show up. Like I said, we're going to keep it kind of short, kind of simple for a show today. I just wanted to give you guys some updates and talk about a few things. This is the talent. I've said this time and time again. This is the talent that I have to work with. Okay. Now it's Rod's wedding. He's having a good time. He gets a little sauced up. He has some vitamins, and we're talking. The ceremony goes by, lovely ceremony, quick ceremony, which is kind of their style. It's like, all right, let's get to the good time. Let's eat. Let's have some fun. Let's have some drinks. Let's have some good conversation. So we sit down. Drinks are flowing. Speech time, and boy, was I nervous. I was anticipating this. Don't want to botch it. Best friend's speech, get to be the best man at his wedding. I've done this one other time. It has been put on me that I'm a good speech giver. They've heard me give one other speech at my brother's wedding, so they must have liked that enough to entrust me with a microphone and stand in front of people after I've been sucking down margaritas and smoking a cigar. So that was pretty fun. The speech is taped. Hopefully Under the Hill Productions and Dream Wolf Productions got that as well, because not for my sake. I would enjoy. I like public speaking, and if there's things that I can learn and change, then those would be good little notes. However, I hope they tape the speech for Rod's sake. I get done with my speech. He hugs me. Thanks, man. That was awesome. We go about the night. Sunday rolls around. I'm calling him. I got to go back to the venue to get my car and everything, because we do the responsible thing. We Uber home. And I'm on the phone with him, and he goes, yeah, you're going to have to send me your speech, because there was bits and pieces of that I was not there for. And I'm like, okay, cool. You hugged me. You said, thank you. That was awesome. So that was a bunch of bullshit, apparently. Good to know. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I kind of run through it a little bit with him. This is like practice after the game somehow, some way that we're doing this. He's like, yeah, I remember that part. I remember that part. Yeah, I think that's the part where I realized that there was chips and salsa right in front of me, and that's just kind of where my mind went. And then you wrapped it up at the end, and I remember that. And so the whole kind of beginning, middle, and beginning end are just completely decimated in his mind. So hopefully we'll be able to get that and run it back for him and see what he thinks. He might not like it after all. We don't actually know. He does not actually know, but good on him. He had a good time. I'm glad everybody was out there and having fun, and everybody made it home safe, and everybody did the responsible thing. Man, it's a lot of me talking. You guys are probably tired of it by now. At this point, usually get a few breaks with Rod telling his passionate stories about what he wanted to do with society, or his alien stories, or his simulation theories. So we're going to wrap it up there for today. Thank you, everybody who did chime in. I know the schedule's been a little bit off. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Last week, we didn't run a live stream. We had wedding preparations to deal with. We did put out Trucking Around last Friday. We will be recording more trucking around this weekend. When we decide to use that, we're not sure yet. That's kind of a plug and play if we do end up not having the live stream during that week. So be on the lookout for that. May plug it in to the marathon episode to buy Rod and I some time to take a break if we need to at any given point, 5-10 minutes here and there. Stay tuned for more updates on that as more guests start to roll in. We may gain some, we may lose some. I don't think everybody's fully committed to the idea that we might need some midnighters. We might need some 2 a.m.ers, some 3 a.m.ers. We're going to be running 24 hours. We want to get people on, hopefully, for every hour if we can. We understand that that may not be the case. If we can figure out how to stream Burial Card or something for you guys, that is on the agenda to be able to do that as well. Logistically, none of us are tech guys between Rod and I, so we'll kind of have to figure out how that works. So if there are people out there listening that do know how that works, please reach out to us and give us some information on that. And then hopefully the live stream will get back into somewhat normal schedule. I'll be on the West Coast next week, so it'll be later for you East Coasters who do chime in and check in with us every week. We'll give you updates. We'll do what we can. We're going to keep this thing going. I love what we're doing. I love the interactions we've been getting. I love the viewership. I love hopefully making you guys laugh at some point throughout your day, whether it's a Wednesday, whether we have to flex it to a Friday, whatever we can do for you guys. Like I said, we'll wrap it up there for today. And I had a lot to talk about. Didn't really get to put down any of I know my father's probably shaking his head. I got the Bud Light seltzer lemonades. What has happened to my son, he thinks. But I got to tell you what, that man's turned into a softie. He's got a grandson now. I don't even want to hear it from him. It's a bunch of baloney. It's been a softie all this time. I knew it. Hiding that exterior that he's got. But thank you guys again for listening. And as always, to you, friends, family, cheers.